happening in terms of those orders. It's not going to be a LeBlanc first pick because Nico is left open. Creme could go towards that again, and indeed is going to go towards it. And that's the Shyvana, which just has buffs on the table coming up. I think at some point, getting Shanji towards that pick again, that'd be a great thing to see. But the Aphelios this time, not going to go to the side of LWX, but to Abel.
Okay, so Abel on something a little bit more straightforward rather than the Samira. Let's see what FPX's direction is. We already mentioned that it was a Nico for LeBlanc trade, but I want to see if we're getting something like, you know, early Wukong here. Or does Hacker say, I did so well in game 1 on this Kha'Zix that he just wants to rinse and repeat and maybe expect a handshake from Arki's angle?
Has himself another CC mid laner. It's not the Annie, but it is the Nico. Still loads of ability to play around CC into the Kha'Zix burst. Kara hovering over. And of course is Shanji's favorite picks as well. But it's going to be the Kennen locked in. Now, in spring, OMG were pretty good at countering Kennen. They had, of the LPL teams, they had the most effective answers to it. We saw some Malphite and Cho'Gath attempted into the Kennen. It didn't really work. However, Shanji plays stuff like Rumble. Whoa. This works. Get in the damn robot, Shanji. He's done it again. This is his, like, iconic pick. And Xioalaohu, he had best be ready for this 1v1.
I mean, again, they knew it was coming. They kind of egged him on for it as well. It does mean, however, that there's no jungle for no jungle for OMG, but there's no AD for FPX. So that's the trade-off here as we start with the bot side bans from OMG's angle. FPX getting rid of things that help the mobility, and the Poppy is swiftly taken off the board.
If you are going to remove the safest of the AD carries, and LWX has to lock in something which is going to get roasted alive by the red carpet, by the equalizer, I think these teamfights are going to get very difficult for FPX. You almost expect Shanji to get ahead in this top side. It reminds me of those of you who watched back in 2015, the Marin days of Rumble in that top side. You push, you win the 1v1, and often it gets to the point where you're going to start losing 1v2s at that point too, because you get the first couple of backs, especially with Ignite taken in that top lane as well as what Rumble takes. You're going to be in some very difficult positions, especially with two very squishy champions towards that top side.
But we do know, again, that OMG are trying to build tempo here, Nymaera. Like, we see solo lanes that need a bit of work with pace, but this time, at least the difference is that OMG aren't all inning to that. They've got the Aphelios, they've just lost the Alistar, but let's be real, an Enchanter possibility here for Ppgod, maybe another engage in the Nautilus. Like, they're not limited on options like Draft 1 felt like.
This has been left up as well. It goes through, so the Rel returns back to OMG's pockets as well. They've played that before with stuff like Rel Tristana and Rel Samira in previous seasons, but this is, of course, the changed Rel, stun on the Q, changes to the kit, lots of things coming through, and that is going to be an absolute magnet storm of terror if that is also combined with the Rumble.
But speaking of terror on side of FPX, what are they going to do? No way! LWX deadpan as well. He's deadpan. He's like, whatever, dude. What the hell? LWX with the Samira against Abel? No way is this serious.
Wow, so that is saying, you know, Abel, that pick which you failed to win within game 1, you're iconic champion yourself, let's see if we can do one better. Thing is, there's still a lot of stuff you need to be very afraid of from OMG. One of the things about the Blade Well is that, of course, it doesn't stop something like the Severum damage coming out from Abel if he has that weapon up. Won't stop the Equalizer either if you're sat on top of it. And of course, Rel can massively lock you down. It is, however, still a kill lane. You can very much threaten this Aphelios and the Rel given the right angle. FPX, I love this so much because when we let out with this series at the start of it, we said FPX, if they are going to win versus OMG, they have to understand the team they're playing against. You have to understand what kind of a team they are in terms of them bringing out different picks, and they are matching fire for fire here.
And how ult-reliant is it? Like, look at both teams here, Nymaera. Look at how big their go buttons are. Rumble Equalizer, Aphelios ulti, Rel ulti. You were talking about the Wukong Cyclone. I go on the other side and I'm like, oh, there's a Kennen, there's a Nico. Like, there are so many big one-punch moments in this game that I feel like are a big part of deciding it.
Absolutely agree with that one too. So hopefully what that means is we're going to have ourselves some slightly more even big team fights and the ability to pull the trigger a little easier from both sides. I think particularly with the Alistar off the table, killing the first target becomes a lot easier because Chocho did a great job from FPX saying, no, the door is shut, you can't get through the Unbreakable Will. When you have the Rel and the Nautilus, yes, they're fairly tanky, not tanky enough against these teams.
It's going to be fun, as you said, regardless, though. We'll talk about the engage options and how it all kicks off in game, but FPX with a game 1 win showed up OMG, and OMG did next to nothing in game 1. Let's be real, their comp needed to get ahead early, and they did nothing of the sort. But here in game number 2, we see very different conditions. We see FPX and OMG both with big triggers, and LWX, I cannot get over the deadpan zoom in of him picking Samira, not giving 2 packets of anything towards the counterpart in Abel, who has this as a big pick and always has. OMG fans
Crowd's
deflated.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I don't know. I think I was about to say they're fired up. I thought that was pretty okay. I thought they're okay. Shout out to the
FPX
OMG
fans were
You're
like,
doing fine.
you know, putting energy into it. OMG was like, Jayo, like, what did we experience in game number 1? But hey,
Maybe they're also in their pajamas today. Maybe they're all saying, you know what, get the popcorn, get the pajamas. We're in for some great entertainment. Saki goes in.
That's Care faking it. He has to burn a flash. I mean, you're face checking there, pretending to be someone else. I guess they didn't call the bluff.
That is very, very awkward. Of course, you don't start with the ability to have your shape splitter up and available. You can do the old emote trick to get yourself that helicopter into the enemy jungle, warding it out for like 11 seconds odd. Quick plans level 1.
Got him. Remount so not really going to see too much apart from LWX getting some of that bonus attack speed naturally. Ladies and gentlemen, LWX is in reverse this game. It's going to be interesting to watch this bottom lane 2v2 play out. As we all know, Samira needs to build up that early game snowball. Just a classic here. Abel and Ppgod, though, do have the push so far, so level 2 is going to belong to them.
Another thing which we're going to have to pay attention to as well. We talk about summoners for the Rumble. You take the Ignite into the cannon. That's great. Helps you get control of that lane. You can very much solo kill that cannon given the right angle. There is, however, no exhaust on the side of OMG. So if Xioalaohu manages to last out against Shanji's Rumble, which of course has been a trying task for a great many top laners in the LPL, it is a pretty good angle to get in towards these team fights. Even someone as slippery as that LeBlanc can get stunned out and absolutely burst down, especially with no exhaust to counter the cannon ultimate.
I mean, they picked this into Shanji. Shanji got this as a response into the cannon, so again, FPX kind of flirting with danger a little bit. Even in the bottom side, you could say the same thing right now as Aki now moves in for the invade, while Hacker's committing with the pushed up wave. It's a massive wave as well. Timing's everything as Chocho flashes but doesn't get it onto Abel now. Trying to get his summoners. It's match. Hacker has got his flash out. Abel's already burned his and both summoners down. He'll get forced out of the lane. LWX goes back to the turret to take away the minions. And Hacker getting himself 4 out of 4 summoners with 1 rotation.
But you don't end up killing the AD carry. That's the saving grace for OMG. And it means that Aki can walk into the enemy jungle, get some vision down. Creme gets to push in Care as well, who's blown teleport very early into the game. Demolish already thrown down by Creme. You can see his game plan on this LeBlanc. Hit those turrets as much as possible. Very interested now to see what OMG do against this kill lane bot side, though, because there's still a Hex Flash on the side of Chocho. They still have all their combat summoners. OMG, they're in some real trouble if they get into a bad spot, but Shanji hits the E.
Yeah, only trouble here. Shanji, oh, solo kill. You picked this into him. You knew it was happening, as meanwhile on the bottom side, OMG might be in a bit of trouble. Even in a 2v1, LWX flashes in. What a psycho. Is he dead? I think he is. He just wanted the kill. Oh my god, that man. Put him into a mental ward.
Put him into the absolute dumpster after this one. Look at the wave. You're losing so much farm from this. You're going to lose a full cannon wave. Have to see what Abel wants to do with that wave stay afterwards. Have to imagine that's a big snowball play. Big snowball play towards the top side, though. Talk about summoners for this Rumble. Takes Ignite because you have so much damage in this early game. OMG have always been ahead of the cannon meta. This Rumble's a big part of the reason why. Ppgod is trying to set up this freeze under tower towards the bot side, though, and because they lose the fight afterwards, the freeze maintains intact. This is a good amount of gold, I suppose, from the kill, but what you lose afterwards is going to be very, very poor to deal with.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, look, I take back what I said about LWX, but in a great way. That man definitely wanted combat as onto Abel, Dredgeline. Oh, it connects. The knockups there. They're all in under the turret on Samira. Chocho willing to die just to give LWX everything. You love to see it.
Maybe Abel thought that Shoujo was also on the roam, because I don't see why you wouldn't just stand behind the minions there being afraid of a hook. So what that does is it opens up things a little bit more for LWX. It means that, again, another kill comes through. It's good goal to the Samira, and it means that the freeze, which was being kept up by Abel, is finally broken at that point. So FPX kind of spared their blushes a little bit from that earlier 2v2, or rather the 2v3 loss towards that bot side.
It has just been a crazy early game. 6 kills, 5 minutes. I mean, this is what we expected out of the draft. The Shoujo now on the roam with Hex Flash on the Creme. It'll be spotted out by a ward, so not much to be done here. As Care can't even help him follow that up. But Nymaera, I was going to lead into the fact that the gold lead is in favor of OMG. And we can say why, right? Like, we know 2 kills onto the enemy jungler in Aki. Shanji getting the solo kill on top side. A much better early game, much more proactive early game, you can say, despite FPX trying to hard force bot.
And it's coming through laning plays. It's not necessarily through big macro movements. Saw that Ppgod tried to get a roam play towards that top side. First Dragon, of course, up on the table. Have to see if OMG go towards that now with this wave crash towards bot side. In game 1, Dragon was started off quite slowly into that game. This one is going to be much more quick. What this means is that OMG, they can push in towards this Dragon. You can see that Shanji has actually ulted the last wave of top side too, and that will be back up again for the Herald fight. So they're getting control of both sides of the map, potentially opening up for a big Herald fight in the next 2 minutes too.
Okay, looking forward to that one. Dragon hasn't been touched either, kind of similar, but as I say, that OMG have just taken it away. Everyone, check your mini-maps. So as that goes, it gives perfect time for OMG to move in a minute 30 for this second objective, as Shanji is just taking away the scuttle himself as well. I mean, this guy...
Oh, great timing. Because this buff is now going to last over to that spawn. I was going to see if Xioalaohu could take that away with the Q. So, I really like what Shanji did there. Gets himself control of that lane, backs some Merc Treads, very important item, uses an ult to push out that wave, and then gets the scuttle on a spawn, so you will still have that scuttle speed shrine available for that first Herald of the game. OMG does, again, really feel like they've got their hands on the wheel and foot on the accelerator in this early game.
Well, good. Good to see at the very least. I want to talk about items quickly as we get the Kache's Shard from Creme on this recall as well. Noon Quiver actually picked up on the recall, to be more specific. As we've got an alternator for Care, just to set up some early damage here. One for Xioalaohu as well. And Nymaera, I want to point out that because of that solo kill topside, Cannon without flash on his ulti. Maybe worth noting here, as Shanji will have his ulti, but he doesn't need to flash for it. He's fine as the Rumble to play at range.
And everything's pointing towards the next big fight going in favor of OMG, isn't it? It feels like they've set up for something around this top side of the map. It's 10 seconds until that Herald spawns, though. And it does look like Abel is once again sat towards this bot side. This is something that they got punished for in game 1. That is the clone. That is going to be the emote extension of the Nico. Because normally it's only meant to last a couple of seconds. When you start emoting, the clone lasts for much longer, though, and it means you can basically use it as a battle ward.
Is that by design? Like, was that meant to do
I don't know, but it's being used. It's apparently being allowed, because it's been used in the LEC and, of course, in the LPL here as well. OMG, though, not immediately starting up towards that Herald. I was wondering if they were going to go really heavy towards this. It felt like they were with the way they were playing the map, but they're delaying it slightly.
Maybe delaying until they know what's going to be happening with the bot side. Chocho and Ppgod already on the roam. Bots just being evened out for the time being, but there's a lot of items there as Chocho dredge lines into a minion. And Hacker, as he moves across, now has his evolve. But we'll just have to see how FPX want to play it out, as Herald's already begun. It's on a ward, but OMG have begun it.
That's the stun. Knockup followed afterwards. Good damage onto Hacker, but Ppgod now a little bit out of summoners, and out of cooldowns, rather.
Okay. So a small trade. Ppgod not willing to attract and repel. He's got no partner with him for the time being. As he remounts, OMG are just going to get a free Herald here. FPX have been grouped up mid for the past minute or so, Nymaera. They haven't done too much. I guess with Xioalaohu being forced to stay in topside by Shanji as well. OMG are really exerting their pressure to make sure that there is no response for now.
There is a potential of a dive happening towards bot side. When AD carries are left alone in that sort of situation, you have to look at their level 6 power spikes and say, okay, what's going to happen here? This was a big thing which happened between the Jinx Aphelios meta of last spring, because Aphelios could kill Jinx in a 1v1 if left alone with ult versus ult. With something like the Samira, you have to be a little worried about that too, but Abel stays safe, picks up farm despite the kill advantage going over to the side of LWX. And what was potentially building up for a big fight towards that Herald has fizzled out. We haven't got ourselves the first big fight of the game.
No, just small skirmishes here and there. It was the early game, the first 6-7 minutes that really blew it open. But then we've just chilled out and lolled about for a little bit as OMG are moving up to a gold lead. It's a 2K at this point with Herald also in their back pocket. They got the first dragon. Things going really well through the laning phase. And again, we can't overstate that it is an improvement from game number 1, but let's be real, it's also a draft difference as well. Nymaera, I like that they didn't just edge themselves into, you know, 3 have to win by 15-minute or 20-minute lanes. You know, we've also got bot side that, yeah, isn't doing too well as Equalizer comes through. I need to pause because Shanji is trying to push out Xioalaohu. And at least OMG have got a lot of different direction going this game as top side is definitely winning out quite easily this time around as Shanji just keeps bullying.
I think Shanji just sees the unleashed teleport symbol over Xioalaohu's head and goes, haha, but what happens if you're half HP? I have an ultimate that can help with that. Yeah. Removes his ability to immediately teleport across the map, has himself flash and ult back available. You pointed that out earlier as not being available if it came to that first Herald fight. Has it up now though. Have to really pay attention though to where those teleports are going. It is just the cannon with the ability to go across the map right now.
Creme going to get turret plating in the meanwhile as well. I want to mention, as you were talking about TPs too, yeah, Creme and Care, of course, burning theirs, and Shanji not having it. We already talked about the Ignite in the top side for the lane, but that is just one takeaway that he won't be able to join for any of the TP plays. I want to see what Shanji can do more in this lane, because he's already pushed it so heavily. He's still winning out on some of the trades versus Xioalaohu. But will he push and move down Nymaera? That's the biggest question, because Dragon's up again. And Hacker starts this one off by himself as OMG try to play the lane itself. Ppgod is all in, grabbing him underneath on LWX as well. He can't get out, so he has to go in. But there is no escape as Aki picks up kill number 3. And just like that, Herald is an opportunity that takes away Dragon for bot side.
Ppgod making the full use of Rel's new kit, but here's the teleport. Here comes the cannon.
Oh my god, is he going to die on the way there? No, Xioalaohu still gets the ulti, never mind. Oh, Shanji, the true carry of that play, denied. As Abel underneath turret, yes, he will die as well, but they've still gotten so much on the bot side. Cameraman obsessed with mid, apparently, because he knows there's going to be a pop blossom from Care, but Creme can turn this around. He's got flash. One more combo does it, as Shanji just made short work of Xioalaohu to make that little rat do nothing on the way in.
Again, Shanji kind of like its neurons activated as soon as you see the teleport unleashed on your lane opponent. He goes, wait, I don't have that, but I have an Ignite. I can start shredding this HP bar. This is Ppgod making the full use of the new Rel kit. The new E gives you that moves and speed to yourself and an ally, allows the route to get in range for Abel, and allows them to get that extra damage, of course, to the next ability cast by Rel. Large amount of burst, and despite the Collector being built up by the Samira, only really works when you're snowballing those fights, despite the fact that it has a lot more stats nowadays. Shanji has enough stats towards the top side, though. Overheats, ignites, in the right position to threaten. Xioalaohu, because he has the Ignite on top of him as well, he's seen in the brush as soon as he teleports through. So it's just like, okay, full vision, full damage, full dead.
Because it's rough to watch. Abel, a little bit too far forward, but still a net win for OMG. A 3K gold lead here in game number 2. And even though FPX, it looks like we're able to get the Dragon on the return, we are looking at a Wukong who is 3-0 in the jungle. It's Aki's time to shine. It is Shanji's time to shine from a very quiet game number 1 as well. And Xioalaohu right now getting outmatched in the top side. Creme outmatching Care, it seems like, on this LeBlanc. And the bot side is set up to just chill now. Nymaera with a, you know, almost first item built, and Abel matching CS of LWX in this early game.
Abel needs to be careful again, though. Doesn't have himself any summoners. There is a Hex Flash on the side of Chocho. LWX could flash forward as well. Some people might be looking at that Collector first and saying, what the heck is that first item? It did get buffed. The base stats are really good now. 18 lethality as a first item makes it fairly valuable. And if you want to start picking up those first kills of the game for Samira to snowball, it is a fairly good first item. Sometimes we see the Duskblade, the Collector. Not a bad item either way, but Abel stays safe. They can't use that item just yet.
No, not at all. I mean, again, it's something I think we even saw it in previous patches. I need to pause Xioalaohu again. Yeah, Protobelt is used to go forward. Shanji not getting the Electro Harpoons. Good kiting away from Xioalaohu, but that's the threat, folks. First item picked up first naturally because of all the plating he got topside, because of the near kills, because of the solo kill, of course, as well. Brandon early on. It's a 4K gold lead for OMG. Shanji close to getting this topside turret with the pressure from OMG in this jungle to boot. It feels like this should be opening up the map for OMG nice and early.
And in the first game, Around this point in the game, OMG were at a gold deficit. They were getting pushed out of the jungle, and Arky was dying when he was going for those warding missions. You can see that comboing up with the Ryle, getting the extra move speed from that E, helps him get out at the right time, and his solo lanes are absolutely demolishing structures across the map. I think that Demolish proc from Creme going to continue to be a real threat. Look at this, pushes in that full bot lane out of turret, threatening the inner, and the amount of attack speed you get from the static shiv as well coming through does give you a lot of extra tower threat. OMG, they're even forcing FPX off of the Herald they're trying to respond with.
They are indeed. Chocho in trouble though, as Equalizer doesn't do much, but depth charge as he dies. I mean, FPX, it's a total turnaround play. Xioalaohu does good poke damage, but it's about the commitment here. He doesn't have flash, the teleport coming in. Oh, dear Lord. Chain up, cancelled. Another TP failure. As Shanji just flashed on top of Hacker. Xioalaohu pops the ulti, but Shanji lives. He will not die today as he's interrupted. LWX can't catch a break. Creme kills Care. OMG have spiced up the relationship in game number 2.
Best of 3 salesmen back again. Would you like to browse our wares? OMG win across the map. You could not tell me this is the same team from game 1. They looked so lost in game 1. Arky gonna walk into Xioalaohu, doesn't have ult though, doesn't have that kill threat. OMG, they look so much more comfortable. They are at an 8,000 gold lead nearabouts. And they're winning with a very similar composition than they did to game 1 as well. It feels like, again, they're relying around the ability to play around multiple lanes at once with the LeBlanc in the side lane, but they're so much further ahead in game 2 because of their lane leads, because of their macro leads in the first fights which they've taken. And it feels like their communication is really on point. This is, what, the second or third time this series we've seen a solo laner from OMG cancel a teleport or burst them out before it. We saw it a couple of times in game 1. Game 2, really getting value from it. And FPX, they're snatching at these plays because they need to bring OMG to the fight so Samira can get value, so Kennen can get value. But as opposed to game 1, they just don't have either the map state or the goal to make it work.
I mean, this is just such a different game number 2. It's a complete turnaround. It's OMG looking back in charge, and it's OMG beating a Samira. I mean, for Abel, this must feel pretty good after he wasn't able to pull it off in game number 1. LWX not doing too much now in game number 2 as he tries to all in. And FPX left with limited options here, as I gotta say, Nymaera, it feels like the game has kind of been set up by people like the Rel, right? Like Ppgod, again, having another decent game, but this time on the Rel, what can FPX do? They can't get anywhere in the zone. Ppgod just takes over.
This is the worst part of that question, because what they need to do is what they tried to do around that Herald. Force OMG into a bad fight where their solo laners can teleport in and win a grouped up fight when OMG are playing the wider map. They just mis-executed, OMG read them like a book, cancelled the teleports. And when you fail that play, you no longer have those same tools to force the fight the next time, nor do you have gold because you're losing out on that every time you lose. An extra 600 gold over to Creme. Every time you make one of these mistakes, you fall so far behind, and look at what they can do with that gold.
And roll out the carpet. There's a 2-man repository as Care. His ulti's big, but it would have been bigger if FPX had some gold. Xioalaohu, hello, welcome. He got Abel, that's nice, but he's dead. Because they can just teleport in themselves, run him over, a triple over to Arky. And this is going to a game 3 at 18.5 minutes. It feels like this should be over in the next 5.
Monkey see, monkey bonk, 7-0 and 4 on this Wukong. The early double kill from that bot lane has accelerated Arky to such an incredible point of power. OMG, game 1, as we said, really not the best look for them, but game 2, much more back to their winning ways. Very much on the same page. You can see that, of course, Shanji doesn't have that teleport, roams down to the important play, and this is the big kind of issue when, you know, you fail a fight just before this around that Herald. You don't have the same tools to make all of these big plays here, nor in this case do you even have the map state to turn up to the play first. OMG, they just take them apart.
Complete different team from game 1. The gold lead, 12,000 just about. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. This is done. This is completely over. OMG showing so much as I don't know why that's a thing. Why does the emote enable Nico to be there for longer? Like, that's short. That's okay. That's probably by design, but I don't understand what's going on.
Removed. I would imagine that gets removed because I think that skews the pick too heavily towards pro play, which is often something which is looked at by the balance team. you think of champions like Ryze, Pyke in the past as well, where he can kind of be played in every position. There are some champions where you look at like niche interactions and say, okay, let's just take that out. I'd imagine that was just a little bit overlooked. So I'd imagine that one gets taken out of play, much like the Dustblade Samira ult as well, which we are going to currently have again. If we have some extra kills coming in from LWX, even at 2 and 4, 2 items, need to be scared of that duo OMG if they approach the fight from the wrong way.
Well, they're going to be sitting on Baron for now, just toggling away the chances of FPX. Teleport comes through, they take it from Care, and they'll just walk off the Baron, easy as you like. Because look at bot, look at this champion with Shiv. Oh my god, like AP scaling to turrets. Oh, thank god this item's getting nerfed. What is this? Why is this a thing? Why is this allowed?
A fine question indeed, but this allows mid laners to show a different kind of skill set, which is their macro play and their split push play, which we've not seen as much before. Creme running into Hacker though.
Okay, against Kha'Zix. Now surely Hacker should take him out. He flashes out though. Meanwhile, FPX, the rest of their team's dying, and Creme is not dead. Instead, OMG just get a couple more kills on the bottom lane, and they'll move back to Baron. Easy as you like.
I have to say, Creme looks very comfortable in this sort of side lane pressure style. We sometimes know him to be that, you know, that mid lane melee assassin player, stuff like Akali, Silas. He plays around side lanes a little bit at that point too, but with this LeBlanc, feels so at ease pushing in these side waves. Even in game 1, it felt like the rest of the team was disconnected from him rather than the other way around. And he allows his team to just play out with uneven numbers advantage, even with the gold lead. This is the combo, of course, which they pull off with that gold lead and that advantage of numbers. So the red carpet rolled up into that storm. It is absolutely nuts amounts of damage, and FPX just don't have the stats to deal with it.
No, not at all. Hacker going to try and kill Creme, but look, can you? He's got no flash, that's good. But FPX are going to sit here for about a country year. Okay, and Creme's just out, never mind.
It's just out.
And
he doesn't care. He doesn't mind.
Yep.
We've gotten to the point now where Shanji has himself a Medra Soul Stealer. He feels that confident. It's at 10 stacks as well, so you get the extra movement speed buff. Shanji, if you walk up to Creme, maybe he escapes. If you walk up to Shanji, he probably just kills you.
You'd never walk up to Shanji. Also, realize country year.
Yeah, I wasn't
mile.
going to mention that. I was going to give you that as a freebie.
No. Well,
country year is, in fact, the same as a year in pretty much everywhere in the world.
It depends on what planet. You know, if we're talking about
True.
a different planet, different country, be like, I don't know, how long is Mars in a day? Mars is like 30 hours?
I can't remember that. I know Venus's days take months because it rotates the wrong way because it was basically spun upside down because it got hit by a huge object. OMG are looking to find a huge object and smash FPX's base with it.
Interesting enough, is Creme still bot. Creme just sitting here. OMG getting engaged on, but oh my god!
What?
Oh, they're gone! Oh, Attract and Rel. That Magnet Storm huge, that engage is so slick. FPX just don't know what hit them.
I am fire! I am death! OMG in game 2, bring it back with a storm. What was that combo?
That was that. That was so well executed, and that's just what we're going to say about OMG's game 2. FPX blown to pieces. And this time around, you have to say a lot quicker, a lot more convincing. OMG